These shocking insurance costs that Jeep owners face in 2026 will make you question everything you thought you knew about affordable vehicle ownership. An 18-year-old driving a Jeep Wrangler can expect to pay $7,957 per year for insurance, and that's nearly $663 every single month, more than many people's rent. The same exact Jeep Wrangler can cost $63 per month in Wyoming or $267 per month in Louisiana, a 324% difference based purely on geography. Before we dive in, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can get more valuable videos just like this. Okay, let's get into it. Here's what's truly mind-bending about Jeep insurance costs. Matt Brannon, Insurify's senior economic analyst, explains that insurers have to respond to risk, and we're seeing those risks compounding in crowded states that already have a high cost of living. In places like New Jersey, more crashes and claims happen, repairs are more expensive, and insurers raise rates to keep up. I'm going to break down the real numbers that insurance companies don't want you to see, and more importantly, explain exactly why your beloved Jeep might be costing you thousands more than you ever imagined. The average Jeep insurance cost in 2026 sits at $169 per month, totaling about $2,025 per year. That's already $13 more than the national average of $156 monthly. But these averages hide massive variations that could save you thousands or cost you a fortune depending on which of the major carriers you choose: State Farm, Progressive, Geico, Allstate, or USAA. The cheapest Jeep model to insure is actually the Wrangler Sport 2-door at $2,280 per year. Wait, that seems backwards, doesn't it? The most iconic, most modified, most off-road capable Jeep is the cheapest to insure? Here's why. Insurance companies have decades of data on Wranglers. They know exactly what to expect, and it's the unknown that scares insurers, not the familiar. On the flip side, the most expensive is the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, $392 at $2,780 per year. That's a $500 annual difference just between trim levels of the same model. Monthly premiums across all Jeep trims range from $61 for basic editions to $447 for high-performance models like that Rubicon 392. Now let's talk about what really drives these costs up. The Jeep Wrangler ranks 299th out of 827 vehicles when it comes to insurance costs. Among midsize SUVs specifically, it ranks 17th out of 33. That places it firmly in expensive territory, and there are three major reasons why. The first reason involves something both the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration discovered that Jeep really didn't want publicized. The NHTSA gives the Wrangler a 4-star frontal impact rating, but only a 3-star rollover rating. In IIHS crash tests, the Wrangler has a disturbing tendency to tip over. Not just roll, but tip. During small overlap frontal crash tests, the vehicle literally tipped onto its passenger side after striking the barrier. The IUHS stated that rollovers, even partial ones like those that occurred in the Wrangler tests, are especially dangerous crashes, in part due to the risk of complete or partial ejection. They added this was of particular concern in the Wrangler, which has a roof and doors that can be removed. Jeep tried to fix this. Beginning with 2022 models, they made changes to the front structure specifically to prevent tipping in small overlap crashes. The vehicle still tipped in subsequent tests. This rollover risk translates directly to higher insurance premiums because insurers know that Wrangler accidents are more likely to result in severe injuries or fatalities. The data backs this up with sobering clarity. The IOHS's 2021 death rate report shows that the Jeep Wrangler Unlimited 4-door has 18 deaths per million registered vehicles. The 2-door Wrangler, 29 deaths per million, one of the highest rates among midsize SUVs. Insurance companies price this risk into every policy. The second major factor involves repair costs. Jeep ranks 15th in repair affordability among 59 U.S. automakers with median annual costs of $821. Jeep Wrangler repair costs specifically average $928 annually. Why so high? It's that rugged construction everyone loves. Jeep's specialized parts and robust build quality mean that when something breaks, it's expensive to fix. There's a third factor that many Jeep owners discover too late: modifications. This is where things get really expensive really fast. Most insurance companies won't touch anything over a 4-inch lift. Think about that for a moment. One of the most popular modifications Jeep owners make, lifting their vehicle for better ground clearance, can make their Jeep essentially uninsurable with many companies. Even when insurers do cover modifications, the limits are restrictive. USAA, which is generally considered modification-friendly, covers the vehicle Kelley Blue Book value plus a $5,000 limit on the total of modifications and upgrades added. The suspension lift gets fully covered for the actual amount, but that $5,000 total limit applies to everything else: new wheels, bigger tires, skid plates, bumpers, winches. For serious off-road enthusiasts, $5,000 doesn't go very far. This creates a trap that many Jeep owners fall into. They buy a Wrangler specifically because it's modifiable, then discover that making the modifications they want either makes insurance prohibitively expensive or impossible to obtain from mainstream carriers. Here's where the story gets more complex. Despite all these factors pushing costs up, there's actually some contradictory data about whether Jeep insurance is truly expensive. The average cost of Jeep insurance per year is $1,221.49, which is actually less than the national average cost of car insurance at $1,311 per year. The Wrangler costs less to insure than most SUVs, averaging $136 monthly versus $184 monthly for typical SUVs. So which is it? Are Jeeps expensive to insure or not? The answer depends entirely on the specifics of your situation, and this is where most people get caught off guard. Age is the biggest factor. While a middle-aged driver might pay that relatively reasonable $136 monthly, young drivers face catastrophic costs. Car insurance for an 18-year-old driving a Jeep Wrangler costs $7,957 per year. Young drivers under 25 can face rates as high as $418 monthly for full coverage. That's collision coverage plus comprehensive coverage plus liability. While adults between 26 and 64 enjoy rates as low as $86 per month for minimum coverage. Location creates equally dramatic swings. Jeep Grand Cherokee insurance ranges from $33 monthly in Wyoming to $399 in Louisiana. That's a 12-fold difference for the exact same coverage on the exact same vehicle. Most Jeep Wrangler drivers are middle-aged, between 25 and 54, with higher household incomes averaging $115,000 to $123,000. The gender breakdown shows 72% male and 28% female ownership. Despite these generally favorable demographics from an insurance perspective, the vehicle characteristics still drive premiums up. The insurance landscape itself has been changing dramatically. Auto insurance rates increased by 11.57% in 2023, then skyrocketed 17.13% in 2024, followed by 7.56% in 2025. The good news: 2026 is projected to see the smallest year-over-year increase since 2022, with less than 1% growth nationally. More than half of states are expected to see car insurance rates actually drop in 2026. Iowa has the largest estimated rate decrease at 6.19%. However, if you're in one of the expensive states, you're still looking at brutal costs. Nevada averages $335 per month, Louisiana $327, and Florida $311, all at least 50% more expensive than the national average. At the absolute top sits New York, where full coverage averages over $4,000 per year, driven by high repair costs, frequent claims, and expensive medical care. Louisiana follows closely at nearly $3,950, influenced by extreme weather events, litigation frequency, and dense urban centers. There's also an emerging threat that could reverse the modest relief some states are seeing. President-elect Trump's proposed tariffs on imported goods could significantly impact insurance rates because about 60% of replacement car parts come from other countries. If those tariffs get implemented, repair costs will rise and insurance premiums will follow. Vehicle theft has been another major factor, though there's some positive news here. After 4 years of surging vehicle thefts that peaked at over 1 million in 2023, thefts nationwide decreased 17% from 2023 to 2024, dropping below the 1 million mark for the first time since 2021. This represents the largest annual decrease in stolen vehicles in the last 40 years. Vehicle thefts continued declining through 2025, falling 23% during the first 6 months compared to the same period in 2024. David J. Glaw, President and CEO of the National Insurance Crime Bureau, noted that the overall decrease in stolen vehicles nationwide reflects the hard work and collaboration between law enforcement, multi-jurisdictional auto theft task forces, governing bodies, vehicle manufacturers, and NICB. So what does all this mean for someone considering a Jeep in 2026? First, shop around aggressively. The cheapest overall car insurance for Jeep vehicles comes from State Farm, with average monthly rates of $38 for minimum coverage and $90 for full coverage. Progressive offers the cheapest rate for the latest Jeep Wrangler at $123 monthly. Erie offers the cheapest average annual coverage at $662. Don't overlook Geico and Allstate either. They often compete aggressively for SUV coverage. Second, understand that your specific situation matters more than averages. A 35-year-old married homeowner with good credit in Wyoming will have a completely different experience than a 22-year-old single renter with fair credit in Louisiana. Third, if you're planning modifications, research insurance implications before you buy. Some companies like USAA are more modification-friendly, while others have strict policies that could leave you uninsured. Consider usage-based insurance programs like Progressive Snapshot or State Farm Drive Safe, and Save that can offer discounts for safe driving habits. Fourth, consider the total cost of ownership, not just the purchase price. That $35,000 Wrangler might seem reasonable until you factor in $2,500 annual insurance costs, especially if you're young or live in an expensive state. The irony of Jeep insurance in 2026 is that the very characteristics that make Jeeps appealing are exactly what makes them expensive to insure. The removable doors and roof that provide that open-air driving experience also increase injury risk and rollovers. The solid axles and robust construction that enable serious off-roading also mean higher repair costs. The modification potential that attracts enthusiasts also creates coverage complications. Here's the thing though, for many Jeep owners, these costs are worth it. They're paying for a lifestyle, not just transportation. The question isn't whether Jeep insurance is expensive, it's whether the total experience justifies the total cost. Looking ahead, the insurance picture for Jeeps in 2026 shows cautious optimism. Rate increases are slowing, theft is declining, and more insurers are becoming comfortable with the modification market. But the fundamental factors that drive Jeep insurance costs, safety ratings, repair expenses, and demographic risks aren't going anywhere. The shocking cost of insuring a Jeep in 2026 isn't just about the numbers, though those numbers are certainly eye-opening. It's about understanding that choosing a Jeep means choosing a different relationship with automotive ownership, one where adventure and capability come with a premium that extends far beyond the showroom floor. Whether that premium is worth paying depends entirely on what you value and what you can afford. But now, at least, you know exactly what you're getting into.